Hey, I'm Chase, a Perth-based male spicy worker specialising in sensual and erotic massage, touring most of Australia and New Zealand this year. Thanks for the comment, Karen. Have I ever had a client that I've not wanted to continue with that service inquiry they had? Yes. Though I am going to put in a quick trigger warning. In our previous sessions before, she had expressed that she didn't like any, how do I pronounce it on here, penetration of any sort from anything, and she didn't like overly dominating things at all. You know, she liked the sensual part of everything, and that's definitely what I specialize in. But one night she sent me a message a little bit before we had a booking, a few days before we had a booking, and she said that she wanted me to penetrate her as hard as I possibly could. And how do I word this on TikTok? Oak her out, literally, while forcefully, and I knew that that was not coming from a place of, desire. I knew it wasn't coming from a place of fantasy, of wanting to have that kind of an experience. I knew it was coming from a place of, self-harm. And people can use smecks as a form of self-harm, or, smexual, I can't pronounce this on TikTok, it's terrible. Using that as a form of self-harm, and that's something I've got to keep an eye out on, is, is the client using this service as a benefit for their life, not a negative. And so we had a conversation. I said to her, I'm not going to, do that. You know that I'm not that kind of provider, because of the relationship we'd already previously had. She knew that I wasn't going to treat her like that. But I said to her, look, stay positive tonight. We'll talk more tomorrow. This is going back a year, so I'm trying to remember everything I said. But we contacted each other again the next day, and she was feeling better. And we went ahead with the booking, and we had a good chat about it. This is like a 3-hour booking or something. So we had plenty of time to have a chat about everything. And, she told me and opened up and cried about, her depression and suicidal thoughts that night. And, I think, that wasn't me saying no to never seeing a client again, but I guess that was me saying no to a service that I wasn't willing to provide. Because as someone in this industry, you've got to understand a lot about consent. You've got to understand about how someone can be using things as a form of self-harm as well, and trying to create positive experiences, not to, give people negative experiences or be a part of that self-harm. So trigger warning for this. I probably should have mentioned it before, but yeah, I think it's important to have those sort of boundaries within yourself. But thanks for the question, Karen.